What's up everyone, some guy here with another Alliance War video. Season 26, war number 9, we are versing against the X-Men. Don't think we ever faced them before, but going to path 5 here, we are versing against a rank 3 Hitmonkey. Fairly common placement, but although we usually see him on the next node, I will be using Nick Fury, very easy Nick Fury fight. Just gotta knock him down with your special one. If you want to try and shut down the protection node, just because Nick Fury's SP1 inflicts a disorient debuff and the SP1 count as a knockdown, so while doing so, the disorient debuff sometimes will shut down the node altogether. And even if you don't shut it down the first time, you might trigger a passive Fury the first time. Most of the time, the first pass, if you trigger the passive Fury, Nick Fury will hit really hard. So you can knock Hitmonkey down pretty close to dying. So yeah, the first one here I didn't shut it off, so I did trigger the passive Fury. So I was able to knock Hitmonkey down pretty much close to death here. He had like 19% left. So yeah, it's the passive Fury is pretty potent. You can do a lot of damage doing so. I just do the other SP1 just for the heck of it, and it does shut him down. And at this point, he's got like 9% left, so not much left to do. So very easy fight for Nick Fury. Going to the next fight here, we have a Havok. It's also a rank 3 on ebb and flow knockdown and heavy hitter. Very common placement. He can be actually pretty annoying on this node just because his first medium attack is a non-contact attack, so you can't parry stun his first medium. So a lot of times he will throw a heavy attack right after, and you can't obviously punish it because it's heavy hitter. He becomes unstoppable. It just gets really annoying when he throws a medium and then a heavy and then medium and heavy, kind of like what he's doing right now. But luckily I was getting a little bit cornered. Luckily he does start throwing combos and I was able to reparry. But I was trying to knock him down more to of course shut down the protection, and then while the passive Fury up to do more damage, but he just wasn't letting me get any openings. But I finally was able to get an opening in when I had the SP2 and the passive Fury up, and I was able to do a lot of damage with the SP2. I am bringing in my newly rank 3 Warlock. I think this is the first war that I'm bringing my 6-star Warlock in, and he puts in a lot of work this war actually, and I was really impressed with his performance. So yeah, this Havok fight in the beginning was a little bit slow, but once I was able to get some ramp up, and the SP2 just destroyed him. So a very good counter for Havok. Next up here we have a steady build up Fury and also heavy hitter and power alternator. I would just be quaking this Annihilus here. I can see how he can be pretty annoying here, since you can't a lot of times you can't stun him, so you can't really shut down, you can't really stun him, and if you parry him too much, he will start throwing heavies, and well, he's already his heavies a lot of times will trigger unstoppable anyway. So I don't think he's that good of a placement on this node, although I can see him being trouble for Doom because of power alternator, but I think Doom will take it as well. Going on section 2 here, we have rank 2 actually, Gladiator Hulk on Footloose and Force of Will. This is the only fight I'm taking unboosted, just because I'm just taking this fight to open up section 2 so my other alliance mates can do their fights in section 2, so I'm not holding up. That was a big mistake actually, not boosting for this fight. Because of Force of Will, Concussion is not shutting down his face meat, so every aftershock, whenever aftershock is expiring, he is triggering face meat, and he's regenerating a bunch of health back from the aftershock damage. So it's as if I'm fighting him on ebb and flow intercept without shutting down the protection, and I have to be mindful not to accidentally let go of my parry, because it can't crit. Even though I'm not boosted, I don't want to risk critting with a heavy attack to trigger protect, because he does benefit from protect. The only good thing about this fight is I get infinite willpower, since it's a Force of Will. I can't shut down the crumbling armor, so I get a ton of willpower, but I don't need it. I'm pretty much at full health. I could play this fight heavy parry, but I chose not to. This was a really long fight actually, unboosted. I've quaked Gladiator Hulk before, and he was fairly easy, but that was because Concussion was able to shut down face me, so he wasn't regenerating anything. But because this node is a Force of Will, you can't shut down He's basically immune to ability accuracy reduction, so face me is getting triggered all the time, and he also triggered region at 30%. So luckily he went down without too much trouble. It was a little bit over a 3-minute fight, which is pretty long. Next time I'll definitely be boosted, especially if it's going against a rank 3. Moving to my path here, we have a rank 3 man thing. This guy gave me a nightmare last war, so I am planning on getting revenge on him. Not the same node, but same thing. This is Flow Intercept and Sadist. He doesn't have that high of a physical resistance, so you can Quake him fairly fine. But because this one is a rank 3, he's got so much health pool. I think he's got like 200k health pool in the start of the fight. And I don't plan on shutting out protection. So this is going to be a pretty long Quake fight. And I should have just used Warlock, to be fair. I think Warlock is a lot better counter than Quake on this node, especially because of the Ebb and Flow Intercept. Warlock at least can shut down the Ebb and Flow Intercept by trying to intercept him. Warlock is a poison immune. And yeah, and Warlock's got some good power control as well to mitigate the Mystic Dispersion this enemy probably has. So Warlock is a pretty good option for this fight, but I went in with Quake because I might use Warlock later on. Well, at this point I wasn't planning on using Warlock for my other fights, because I was only assigned for actually none of the mini boss fights. So after my path is over, that was gonna be it. So I didn't really need Warlock for any other fights. I only brought him in for Havok. So I really could have used Warlock for this fight, but I chose with Quake, kind of mainly because I died to Man-Thing last war. So I wanted to kind of get revenge on him this war, even though they're not on the same node, but I don't know, it just felt good to Quake him or solo him, I guess. But this was an extremely long fight, which was, yeah, I'm definitely, if I have a better counter next time, I would definitely use my other counters. Quake can do it, but it's just a really long Quake fight. Of course, the longer the fight, the more prone for mistakes. So that's usually the case. And if you accidentally drop your heavy, you can, of course, trigger protect. He does benefit from protect, and you would have to intercept him to get rid of it to not time out. So this was almost a 4-minute fight. So it was a really long fight. But luckily he went down without too much trouble. Next up, we have Immortal Abomination, surprise, surprise, on Ebb and Flow Intercept and Redouble Determination. This one's only a 5-star, so I felt pretty comfortable quaking him. I quaked rank 3 before. Not too much trouble. It's just the same thing. You just have to make sure you play perfect Quake and you don't drop your heavy. But yeah, this one, yeah, fairly simple. This one is a lot shorter than the Man-Thing fight. Immortal Abomination also doesn't have a high physical resistance, so it's fairly quakeable on Path 5, Section 2 here. But I feel like I should. Warlock is also another option if the opponent is running willpower, I think. In my opinion, at least, that makes the Warlock fight a lot better option. Because if the opponent is not running any willpower, you will not be able to power drain any of his power, and his power can get out of control pretty quickly, especially when you don't intercept him and he uses SP1 or SP2. The damage can get ramped up pretty high. And his SP3, even if you're poison immune, I think you can't be immune to the SP3 poison. I don't know. His SP3 poison is a little bit different. I forget the exact wording, but I want to say even if you're poison immune, you will still get poison or something like that. I forget. Moving on to the next fight, we have a rank 3 Void on Ebb and Flow Intercept, Crumbling Armor, and Redouble Determination. This is probably one of my best Void fights with Nick Fury. Nick Fury is the perfect counter for Void, just because every time you knock down the opponent, you purify a non-damaging debuffs, and all of Void's debuffs are non-damaging. So you can just use a heavy or use any special 1 or special 2 to knock him down to get rid of any of these debuffs when he gets on you. If you mess up on your combos, I do try and line up my combos perfectly so that the every 10th hit clears or purifies a debuff. I'm also trying to intercept them a lot so I can get rid of protection and then get that passive fury to make the fight go by faster. A lot of times with void fights, the longer you are in with the fight, the more prone you are for mistakes, and his debuffs can do a number of damage on you if you let it sit for too long. I was able to get some pretty nice intercepts in for the most part, and bait out specials for the most part as well. I am also keeping an eye on the redouble determination, basically his power meter. This SP2 was I was able to get some good damage in, get some good crits with the passive fury, and I was also keeping an eye on the passive fury timer, making sure whenever it was expiring, I'm not hitting into him because he will purify the stun debuff and then come out of the stun. So you just have to look out for that and make sure you're not in his range when it happens, because he can just get out of stun and then punish you back for it. So yeah, this was probably my best void fight. I finished the fight with 88% health, which I'm really happy about. Most of the time when I fight this guy, I lose like a bunch of health. Moving to section 3, we have this Sasquatch on recovery and vigorous assault. I don't think any of his regions are buffs, so he won't become unblockable or anything, but his region can get a lot at the end, just because of recovery. So I was assigned this fight, but the person that was assigned this fight was supposed to use Warlock for this fight, but his Warlock had about half health, and that was gonna be his only mini boss fight. So I just offered to take this fight, and since I can easily Quake this guy, and so that way my teammate doesn't have to use any potions. I've Quaked this guy before on this node a few years ago, or maybe last season. Didn't have too much trouble. You just have to look out for when he gets into his wrath mode. He basically becomes stun immune, so he can come out of the stun, kind of like how Nick Fury goes from his first life to second life. You just have to look out for that, except this time there's no clear indication when he'll be going into wrath. So you just have to look out. You keep an eye on his icon right beneath his health to make sure whenever it pops up, you are prepared to basically start quaking. Other than that, it's a really easy Quake fight. He will never regen any after because you're not hitting into him. So you can basically ignore the recovery node, so he's not gonna be regenning. But yeah, pretty easy fight. When he is in Wrath of Tanarak, he can hit really hard, so make sure you're not getting hit, or you're not getting hit on a block. Block hits can hurt a lot too. Moving to the next fight, I wasn't supposed to take this fight as well, but war timer was running low and we just need to be able to clear the fight. At this time of the war, we've already lost, so I do just offer to take the rest of the fight to make the fights go by faster so we can clear a map and have the boss killer come in and clear the boss, so path 7, 8, and 9 can do their path and finish up the war. So this fight, it's against the Warlock. I have seen, I think, Guillotine 2099 get placed here before. I don't think I've seen Warlock getting placed, at least I can't remember. But I don't know if Warlock is a good option on this node. I can see other champion having trouble or taking a lot of degen damage, just because you're gonna take a lot of block hits on this node because it's on stunning reflection, and Warlock is immune to poison, and you can use I guess torch, but with torch you can shut down the stunning reflection shield, and but there is stun vulnerability, so you hit really hard if you parry him and you're hitting him when he's stunned, and you will most likely trigger protect, because he does benefit from the protect global. So I think a safer option would be a robot against robot, since you won't be regenning. You don't have any willpower. Well, I guess you can turn off willpower and use any champ against him, but he's gonna have a bunch of infection on you, and yeah, I guess any champ would work if you turn off willpower. But I just opted with Warlock, since he's not gonna be regenning, or he doesn't have any willpower. And he's a rank 3, so he can take a good amount of hits. I think he does shut down my shield a few times through his infections, but I was able to get them back up, since yeah, I think Warlock's shield comes back every 10 seconds if it gets shut down. I forget the exact time. But yeah, Warlock against Warlock's pretty safe fight against Sunny Reflection. Plus Warlock is also a large champion, or actually a large champion, I forget. So even if he triggers protect, you can always knock him down to actually it's pretty hard to knock him down, I'm not gonna lie. I just realized because I'm not gonna be gaining any power, so to knock him down I would have to use a heavy attack. And it's I guess you can try and punish his SP2 with your heavy attack, but the timing and the spacing would have to be really accurate. Oh wait, I guess I can just intercept. I just forget. You can also intercept to shut down protection as well. I have been doing a lot of intercepts against Warlock. Warlock's intercept is pretty on point. I do like his animation a lot. The only thing about his animation is I feel like his dash back is a little bit shallow. I don't know if that's because of how, like, I don't know, his animation or his size, but whenever I'm dashing back against the enemy, I feel like my one dash back is not enough or something. I don't know. I always find myself dashing back a bunch of times trying to avoid some opponents' hits. I just feel like I'm not dashing back enough. So I always do a bunch of dash back just to make sure I'm far enough. That's the one thing I have trouble with. It might be just because I'm not used to playing with him. But moving to the next fight, we have a Moman on, I think, Limber on Brute Force. One of our teammates, Spade, brought a White Magneto pre-fight, so he's able to place the pre-fight on him and make this fight very, very easy. I will be using Warlock, since Warlock does benefit from the White Magneto pre-fight. Plus, I think Warlock is a better option because, well, I don't plan on using my heavies, so he's not going to get any debuffs. The only time he's going to get Mo charges or Mo mass is going to be when he uses SP1. I think he does use like a few SP1s in this fight. Yeah, he uses one over here, which gives him 2 monster masses. I don't plan on hitting into him in the block anyway, and with the White Mag pre-fight, I'm pretty much able to ignore Limber and have infinite parries. So I make this fight pretty easy. I just have to look out for, I have to be wary of Brute Force basically. His SP2 animation can be a little bit long, but as long as you're aggressive with it, you can bait it out. And even if you can't bait it out, I think a few times I don't bait it out. You just parry him and hit him once or hit him twice, and then back off and hopefully throws his special. That's how I at least do it for this fight. I think in a couple times where he just doesn't throw his special, I just parry him and like hit him once and then try and bait it again. And yeah, right here I think he's not throwing it, so I hit him once and back it off, and yeah, he throws his SP2. Almost got into the Brute Force timer, but I was able to get back in and do some combos to reset the timer. I am trying to save my SP3 to kind of like get out of the jail card. If somehow I mess up, I can always use the SP3 either to reset the Brute Force timer or to get the adrenaline regen back. SP3 is probably the fastest way to get all of your adrenaline health back. I believe even if it's against like a protection node, even if your SP3 doesn't do a lot of damage, you can most of the time get like all of the adrenaline health back. I find at least. Yeah, so right here he's being passive, so I just hit him once, and then to reset the Brute Force timer so that you can throw the SP2 and then get back into the fight. It is a pretty long fight, but Warlock is a pretty safe fight with the White Mag pre-fight. Or anyone who benefits from the White Magneto pre-fight should be a pretty good counter against this guy. I don't know if Nick Fury is a good counter just because he triggers a bunch of bleeds, so he's gonna give Moman a bunch of monster mass, and he's gonna be frenzy a bunch of times, and I think his specials are unblockable when he's frenzy or something like that. So basically anyone who doesn't trigger that many debuffs and who benefits from White Magneto's pre-fight should be a pretty good counter against this guy. For anyone who doesn't have the White Mag pre-fight, I'm not too sure, maybe Ghost, but yeah. We did finish this war with 10 fights, and we soloed all of them without using a single item, so that was very nice and very satisfying. Unfortunately, we did take the L for this war. I think we were just dying too many times, unfortunately. But yeah, this does bring us down all the way to 22nd place in Plat 2. I don't think we have a chance at Plat 1 at this point, but we'll see what we can do. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.